many four-letter words can I use on that?
Don't get taken down. Figure it out. Like, find a way to not get taken down, even if there's a minute left.
Oh, Nick, I'm a top guy, so I love top wrestling.
We have an amazing culture within our program, and you know, we build it. We don't buy it. We build it.
So I think that wrestling is the greatest sport on earth.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to On3 Wrestling. I'm your host, Nick Kosko, and with me today, very special guest, Bo Bassett himself, coming off a great performance at RAF. High school season underway for him as well. Can't forget the fact that he is committed to Virginia Tech and another loaded recruiting class for the Hokies. Bo, good to talk to you, my man. Let's start right there with RAF. I mean, you're all over the place. You know, high school season just started, which we'll dive into in a second, but RAF, man, that's here. It's been amazing for you so far. You made your debut beating Darian Caldwell, a legend in his own right. How was that for you, being on a big stage like that?
Yeah, it was awesome. Really, really awesome opportunity for me. A lot of amazing opportunities coming up with high school, with future RAF matches, and really next year getting into college. So there's so much excitement. No motivation needed really, but wrestling at RAF was more than I had expected. And I had pretty high expectations, but it totally blew those out of the water. What they're doing for wrestling and putting us on mainstream has been unbelievable. It's been awesome to be a part of that at the early stages, and I believe it's just going to take off. It's going to keep growing every single time, every single card. And to wrestle a guy like Darian was a pretty cool opportunity too.
You're coming off Real American Freestyle 3, which was arguably the league's biggest card to date so far. A lot of attention on it, whether it was in person or obviously watching the stream as well. So when you get into an event like that, at first when they contact you, it's like, what's going through your head? You're like, I mean, yeah, I know I'm making a name for myself right now, but I'm still in high school, not in college yet. And these are all guys that are, gunning for professional titles at this point in this new league. What was your first reaction when RAF gave you the call?
I think it's exciting. We always are preached to chase lions and big opportunities, guys that are supposed to beat us, or we're always bumping up age groups, really, and that's something I've done since I was younger. And so when I got the call, I knew it was going to be somebody at the highest level. It was going to be a professional at what they do. I wasn't quite sure who my opponent was going to be, but I knew I was signing with an organization that does everything the highest level. And so from that moment forward, I was excited entering the room at practice. Once I got my opponent and Darian, I think for me, it was just preparing the right way, like a professional. And I knew he was going to do the same. I know that he's accomplished a lot of amazing things, like his NCAA title, like winning Bellator, and being the champ there. But for me, I know that I've put a lot of work into. I might be a lot younger than him, but I also have a lot of years in myself. And I truly believe wrestling all these years at the highest level and constantly trying to bump up to college or senior level has made me, I think, a lot older in my skills and in my mindset than I actually am age-wise. And so it's been pretty cool to, go through those experiences. And RAF was just another one that is going to be hard to be beat.
Do you anticipate more matches coming up soon for yourself? I don't know if you have anything signed, sealed, and delivered yet, but you're obviously in the middle of your high school season. Do you anticipate maybe doing some RAF during the high school season, or is that something that you want to wait until maybe after February or March at this point?
I think at this point it's, can we fit it in there? Because I like to wrestle as much as possible. One thing we always say, and we have on one of our shirts, is we're not hard to find. We're going to be at every big event in high school. We're going to be at a lot of college opens. And if there's an opportunity to wrestle a professional at RAF, we're going to do it. We're going to wrestle the best guys that we can, the best competition always. So if I can fit in another card or another match, I'm absolutely going to take advantage of that. And I'm going to do my absolute best to be prepared, ready to go to wrestle whoever it is. And so I think we could definitely see another match before the end of the high school season, and as many as we possibly can, because I love to compete, I love to put it on the line, and I love to chase lions. So definitely in the cards, and we'll see what happens, but I'm really excited.
I think a lot of fans would love to see that. So with their hot start this year, 3 events already in the books in 2025. Another one coming up later this month. And, of course, they've already announced RAF 5 for January as well, headlined by Colby Covington actually getting in the mix as well, back into his wrestling shoes. So with the hot start with this league right now, we've seen some leagues come and go. We have a couple out there right now. Real American Freestyle, obviously, backed by some big names. It's put on some great shows so far. What do you make of a league like this being that professional option for wrestlers that maybe are not going to always make the Olympic or world team, but they now have another outlet to go after college at this point?
Yeah, I mean, for my first 10 years of wrestling or so, there was nothing past college. That was it. I mean, once you're through college, there's no more folk style, and really all you have is the Olympics and world title runs. And we know how hard it is to make those teams, and we know that for the Olympics, there's only 5 weights. And so everybody's kind of going after the same thing there. But with RAF, it allows us to have our NFL. It allows us to have our NBA, whatever it is. And so it's really cool to be able to put ourselves up there with a professional league and start putting on a show for the fans. And it was really cool the way that they were able to market RAF. It's been really cool, the names that they're bringing into the sport of wrestling. And so I think it's just going to help grow the sport. And again, for my first 10 years of wrestling, I never saw this future. And now it's getting pretty awesome to get excited for that. And so when you're younger, you can say, all right, well, someday I want to wrestle in college, and then I want to go to RAF, and I want to be a professional. And that's exciting stuff. It's exciting to bring wrestling into viewers' eyes and to try to make it even bigger than what it is.
Yeah, I like that mentality, getting the younger guys into it as well, especially down in the near future. So we'll talk about you personally now over the last month or so. So your high school season has begun, your senior year at Bishop McCort. You also won the Bill Farrell at 65 kilograms about 4+ weeks ago. So have you noticed anything different in your wrestling this year? Do you feel a sense of I don't want to maybe call it relief, but you went through a lengthy recruiting process, which we'll talk about in a second, but you seem to be firing off on all cylinders right now. Again, winning the Bill Farrell, getting off to a hot start your high school season. What's been your mentality and I guess the vibes around you and the team so far over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, vibes have been great. We know this is our last year. It's last everything. And so we have a really strong senior class. I believe we have 6 guys going to Division I. Just seniors. So it's going to be pretty awesome to all be on the same team, one last year, and really try to make the most of it. I have a lot of really awesome teammates, and we're kind of splitting up. There's a lot of us going all over the country. And so our mentality this year is to make the most of every second and compete a lot. And so I competed freestyle at RAF in the Farrell, and then I competed folk style at Super 32 and a lot of the college opens. And so I've wrestled some really high level competition at the Farrell. I wrestled Bo Bartlett in the finals. I mean, that's a guy who's up there to make the world team, to represent the United States of America senior level at 65. And so it was good to get a match like that. And folk style at the Clarion Open, I got to wrestle Jackson Joy in the finals. And he just had a career weekend at CKLV. He crushed it. I mean, he really sustained himself as probably a top 2 guy at 149. And so getting matches like that in both styles has been huge. But I think this senior year, it's all about chasing competition and making the most of every tournament, every single second, because it's the last for a lot of them. And that's exciting, but it's also like, all right, let's make the most of it and really go all in.
Yeah, you get to wrestle with your brothers, too, at Bishop McCort. Obviously, Keegan and Melvin. And Melvin's going to be joining you at Virginia Tech. He committed as well. That was put out there within the last few weeks as well. When you mentioned guys like you that are going to chase competition, you've seen it already with yourself at RAF and a bunch of other tournaments, such as, you dominate Super 32 at the high school level. You go to Bill Farrell, you're trying to hit these college opens as well. Is that the mentality, maybe not just for, the 3 of you in your household, but also I guess maybe the entire Bishop McCort team, especially the ones that are going Division I, you want to chase that competition, well above your age level?
Absolutely. We have, in my opinion, the number 1 toughest schedule that you can have in high school. We're not really missing any big-time events. We're going to Powerade. We're going to Ironman. We're going to Beast of the East and wrestling a Pennsylvania schedule. And that's not easy to do, but we love it. We enjoy it. We enjoy battling every weekend. We enjoy having big-time teams come in for duels or going, chasing down big-time teams, going elsewhere for dual meets. And then those big tournaments are huge for us. We like to say that we want to be ready to go for an NCAA schedule or a Big Ten schedule, or in my case, an ACC schedule, when we step foot in the room our freshman year. And so we want to be ready to win a national title our true freshman year in college. And that's always been the goal. And so we're excited to try to almost, I think, make a model of what it's going to be in the upcoming years in college, but just in high school. We're chasing the best competition, and the guys know that that's been the mindset from the day they step in the high school room.
Not to get too far ahead, but you are going to Virginia Tech next year. You made that official earlier this fall. Lengthy recruiting process for you. I know it's been, there was a lot of ups and downs, and of course a lot of inward thoughts from yourself. But you land at Virginia Tech, as you mentioned. You can be wrestling that ACC schedule starting next year. I guess I'll just start with the campus itself, and when you went there, and then you basically just fell in love with the place. What about Blacksburg makes it so special to be able to go there next year and spend the next 4 years of your college career, or 4 or 5 years of your college career starting next year?
Yeah, super long recruiting process for us, for sure. It was definitely stressful at times. It was a lot. You go into practice And let's say you practice for 3 hours, and then coming out of practice, you could have, 5 missed calls and 5 text messages. And that's a lot, when you're already running a full training schedule with, being in school. And so it's definitely, it's relieving to be done with that process and to know, okay, we're going all in. This is where we're going to be. This is home. And this is family. And so what I found with Virginia Tech that really set them apart, and I believe that everybody does a good job on the wrestling side of things. Everybody has great facilities, everybody has great coaches, and some really good people in their program. But I think what Virginia Tech did that was different is they're unbelievable people. And how they'll care for you off the mat as well as on the mat set them apart. Coach Freyer and Coach Roby are awesome. Love those guys, and I'm really excited to see what happens over the next 5 years in college, and then who knows how long after that wrestling, freestyle and through RAF. So it's going to be really fun to do it with them. I've got great relationships with Caleb Henson now. When I go down to train over the last couple of months, I've been being able to spend a lot of time with him, and Sam Latona, Coach Tonelli, Coach Hott. They do an amazing job with coaching and really just being there no matter what for their guys. I have great relationships with the entire team, and so it's going to be fun to keep building those. And it's going to be fun to try to put on a show and really, really be a trophy team every single year consistently, and make a shot for that title. We're gonna have a really good squad starting next year, and they're gonna be in contentions this year as well.
I was actually just about to ask you about Caleb Henson, who was taking that red shirt year this year after winning a national title a couple of years ago. He's a 2-time finalist in his own right. So the fact that you're actually going to be teammates with him next year, which I don't think many people anticipated, you two overlapping in the same lineup, but that could be the case next year. What's it been like training with him? And you kind of already alluded to it as well, going down to that room, be able to scrap with guys like that. What's it like, the fact that you're going to be teammates with him next year?
Yeah, I can't say enough about Caleb. He's been amazing. He's kind of taken me in, helping, took me under his wing so far, and he's been awesome. He's a professional. He's done pretty much everything you can do at the college level. He's a national champion, and he's going to be a threat next year. I never thought I'd be on the same team as him. I looked up to him my whole life growing up, and so being able to work with him, train with him, and go to battle with him next year is going to be an opportunity that I'll remember for a long time. He took a really, really unselfish move. He's taking a red shirt this year, and so it's going to be huge for not only the team, but I think just the culture. I mean, to show that probably the number one guy there, the face of the program, is doing that for the team and is doing that for Blacksburg and for the Hokie Nation. So it's going to be awesome to be on a team with him, with guys like Eddie Ventresca and then Jimmy Mullen up top, Ryan Burton. I mean, I've got so many good connections with these guys, and it's going to be exciting. A lot of them are young. Caleb's got one more run at it. And so I'm really, really excited that he's going to take that opportunity to do it with me my freshman year. And I'm excited for whatever the coaches tell me weight-wise, whatever they tell me with red shirts and all of that. I'm all in on winning individually, but most importantly, winning as a team.
No doubt. And obviously there's a lot of buzz on the Virginia Tech campus right now. I saw a video recently. You actually met the new football coach, James Franklin, who came over from after a long tenure at Penn State. He's a big wrestling guy over at Penn State. What were your conversations like with him? I mean, it seemed like he was already excited. He was almost more excited to meet you than vice versa.
It was amazing. So I've been a huge Penn State football fan my entire life. Just being from where I'm from, that was the team that everybody cheered for. So I hopped on Penn State football and Steelers football, and I'll never be able to get off those two teams. I'm now a Virginia Tech football fan for sure, but to get the coach of the team I watched my entire life has been, I don't know, you can't even write, you can't even think of that stuff. So for him to come down the same week too that I was there, that I was in town, was insane. And to meet him, and then for him to say that he's been following my career, was a really eye-opening experience. And it was really cool to feel the love from him. I'm excited to build a relationship with him. I won't miss a home game. There's no way. Enter Sandman's like nothing I've ever felt before. It's like it's crazy. So it's really cool to see another high-level guy come down, and I think he's going to do really well in the football program. And obviously he does a great job recruiting. He's not going too far from where he already kind of recruited, and I know he's bringing a lot of transfers with him too. So it was exciting to meet him. Shout out to my man Ethan. He's also a coach. Yeah. He's like a director of ops. Ethan is the man. He actually got us to be able to meet right before coach's press conference. So that was huge. Ethan's that guy, and me and him we'll be hitting up Pliables soon.
Yeah, Ethan and I really shoot it when we ever get to talk to each other, especially at NCAAs, and he's been great job. He's been doing great things for that program. You mentioned Enter Sandman. Of course, it's iconic for Virginia Tech football, Virginia Tech athletics. Is that one of the new songs you're blasting in the weight room or in the restroom now at this point?
No doubt, no doubt. So the 2025 Wrapped on Spotify came out, and it's already in the top 5 played songs of the year. So Enter Sandman's definitely going to be huge for us moving forward. And once that song comes on, it's over for whoever we're wrestling in the room for me and Melvin. So it's been exciting, and I'm excited for every single opportunity that we get to hear Enter Sandman because it's either a football game or a wrestling match. So it's exciting.
You'd love to hear that. I'm curious about your training regimen now at this point because you're in season. You just mentioned you just got done with a workout this morning. What's that look like for you now that you're in season? Obviously, for people that follow you on social media and have been following your high school career, I don't see many guys working as hard as you do. Of course, you put up every day the 5 a.m. workouts. Just before 5 a.m. when you wake up. But what's the routine look like for you now in season as you go through again the grind of a high school season?
Right. It becomes a lifestyle, especially this senior year, and really trying to go all in on being ready next year, true freshman year, to do whatever the team needs. So the training regimen is it's at a professional level. We try to do everything really calculated and making sure we're listening to our body and making sure that we're really trying to evolve. I think the constant chase of evolving and trying to constantly get better is always exciting. I think wrestling is a sport where there's so much going on. You can't really ever perfect it. And so making sure that we're hitting all of our positions and trying to constantly add attacks and get better and really break down wrestling has been huge for me. My dad does an amazing job with really letting me know what I got to do, what I have to do, and making sure that I never forget what got me to this point and to not stop doing the things that did. I think when you get to college, you have a choice, right? Because you become on your own. And so it comes down to, are you willing to keep doing what got you there? And I'm excited to make sure I do that and keep living the right lifestyle.
Your style is very intriguing to me because you have that. I don't want to say like it's like a very pedestrian. It's not a normal. I'm trying to put this in the right words and saying that your style is very aggressive. And like if you think of like the typical aggressive wrestler, they're always in your face, but sometimes they are susceptible to maybe getting thrown on their back or they give up points or maybe they're not supposed to. But you're constantly moving forward, banging on the head, and you're just go go go. You really never seem to take your foot off the gas. Have you found yourself maybe perfecting that style or making some slight tweaks? Because being overly aggressive obviously can lead to maybe some bad things happening in matches. How have you been able to, I guess, avoid those bad things in your matches with that type of style?
Yeah, I think when I first started this style, it was a really young age. And so at first there was a lot of different holes, right? Coming out of position a little bit or maybe just over pursuing. And so as I've gotten older, one thing that's been huge on working on and evolving is staying in great position while you have a super high pace. I feel like giving up points it's something that we're okay with because we know we're going to just keep attacking and scoring. But obviously, the least amount of points you can give up is best. And so when you're attacking at such a high pace with machine gun mindset is what we always say, you are susceptible sometimes to giving up points. And so I think it's important to be able, as we move forward, stay in great position and really make sure that we can keep that pace high, take people to 30 feet while also doing it the right way. And so it's a constant battle and it's a constant, I think, just strategy and practice on really making sure we're breaking down the little parts of wrestling because those little things eventually become the big things in the tightest matches. So wrestling at a high pace for me will never change. I feel like that's who I am, and that can become your X factor in those big time matches. You take guys out of their comfort zone, guys that kind of just stand around and go one takedown. I give my opponent respect, but when we're on the mat, it's a sprint, and I'm not afraid to get tired. So for me, that's like been huge. Not being afraid to get tired and trying to stay in great position.
Are there certain things in your training that you do differently when it comes to conditioning? Because everyone always says that the best conditioning for wrestling is to just keep wrestling. Are there other things that you do to be able to maintain that high pace? Obviously, there's a lot that has to do with it off the mat as well. But is there certain things that you do where it's like, this is the difference maker in my cardio compared to my opponent's cardio?
Yeah, I think the credit there goes to my dad. It's not that we do anything probably too crazy different. I think it comes down to mindset a lot. We do a lot of mindset training, and putting ourselves in deep waters isn't just something you can do in a match. So I think what it comes down to there is you have to live that lifestyle to be able to do it in a match, especially at the highest level. If you don't live that lifestyle, it's going to be hard to just turn it on. And so we always think about the light switch. If there's really, if you don't put time into that, if you don't connect the dots in the way that you live, it's not going to be able just to flip on during the match. So I think it's just the way that we live. We live at a really high pace and try to train at a really high pace. And we definitely wrestle a lot longer than a match would be.
Yeah. You give your father a lot of credit. Obviously, he's been your coach, pretty much, since the day you were brought onto this earth. What's that adjustment going to be like? I mean, again, I know you're going to go to a loaded place, loaded staff at Virginia Tech. What's it going to be like not having your dad in your corner for the first time? And have you talked to him about that a little bit?
Yeah, we talk about it a little bit, especially this last year. I know he's gonna miss me. I'm gonna miss him a lot. But my dad's got two awesome brothers of mine that are gonna be great, and he's gonna be able to coach them. And I don't think he's gonna stop coaching after that. We've got a lot of young studs in McCort. And I think honestly, he treats the whole entire team like they're his son. He really puts a lot of time and effort and love into all these guys. And yeah, it's gonna be definitely an interesting experience. Moving on and, not going to his practice every day. It'll be different. He will get a call every single day. I'm going to call home every day and talk about practice. We just have a great relationship in that way. But I know he's always said since we were younger, he wants to make sure that when he sends us off, obviously that he feels, 100% confident in where we're going. And we feel more than 100% confident in Virginia Tech. And, he knows that by the time I leave that it's got to be 100% on me. And, I think that the way that he's brought us up, I feel like we're going to be ready to make that adjustment. And I think my dad's still going to stay really close to me. And, I'm going to miss him a lot, but I think it's part of life. It's part of growing. And he's going to be busy back home. And I'm going to keep doing what we did just now in Virginia.
It's interesting you brought up that you're going to call him every day, which I totally expected that answer from you. But you mentioned the mindset training, how you do that with him. Is that something that you would continue even from a distance, where it's like, hey, you're going to call him and then you'll go over maybe the same type of stuff you normally would in person when it comes to that mindset training?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna call him not only just for the wrestling, but also like his mindset stuff is top notch. I truly believe he's one of the best mindset coaches in the world, just because he studies it so much. He puts all of his time and effort into us as a team and us kids, and it's something that you can't stop doing. And I'm going to need definitely his talks and the things that he's thinking about. I think one thing that he does really well is he uses what's going on now. So CKLV just happened, the Las Vegas Open tournament, and he's going to use a ton of examples today at practice from that. Right. So he tries to learn on the fly, keep evolving from things that are happening now. And so he does a really good job of that. And yeah, I'm definitely going to miss seeing him every day, but I think it's important to keep that relationship high, and I'm sure that I'll be home pretty often because it's pretty close to home, and he'll come down a lot.
Love to hear that. A couple more for you. Bo Bassett with me here on On3 Wrestling. I know you're very religious and you practice your faith a lot, and it's at the forefront of basically your daily life at this point. Is there I'm curious about this, considering, I grew up also Catholic. Is there a Bible verse for you right now that really sticks out to you, or one that you're leaning on maybe in the early parts of the season, or just something that's maybe in your head generally right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got quite a few. And one thing I always like to do, and I'm going to try to bring it down to Virginia Tech, is right before our dual meets, one of the guys prays, and a lot of times it's the captains, but the opening dual meet last week, I got to pray. And so I always have a verse, and I always try to really go all in on making it good. So I'll share both of those. I think the verse that stands out for me just in life overall, and I have it on my shoulder here, is Matthew 19:26. And it's with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And so I keep that in mind. I know that I can't do this alone. I know that I'm second. And that with God, all things are possible. So those goals and dreams, they're in my heart and they're in my mind for a reason. And so I try to chase them down fearlessly. But then just for the prayers for the team beforehand, I always try to really make sure that these guys are representing the Lord when they go on the mat. And when I leave next year, I hope they keep carrying on that tradition, and that kind of becomes the center of our team. And I feel like that's what keeps us really close at McCort. And so I'm going to try to make sure I bring that to Virginia Tech. And I know that all the coaches are believers, and that a lot of the team got baptized this past summer. So it's going to be a strong faith connection that we share. And I'm excited to work with Reed, their chaplain, who does an amazing job. And we've created a great relationship already before I even step foot on campus. So it's going to be exciting to keep that the center of whatever team I'm on, and making sure that it stays the center of my life.
It's good to hear, especially the fact that you've done this before even going to Blacksburg full-time next year. Again, last two for you, Bo. I know you're a big Steelers fan. Big win over the weekend. Care to comment on Aaron Rodgers getting it done over the Baltimore Ravens?
That was huge. Absolutely huge. I wasn't sure what to expect. You never know, especially going into Baltimore. Looked terrible last week, but we're back on track back in the driver's seat in the division. So basically 2 games up too with the head-to-head win over the Ravens. I know we got to play them again week 18, but it's in Pittsburgh. So I don't know what's going to happen. I know we got a strong schedule to finish out the year. It's going to be tough, but I have faith in Aaron. I think he's a veteran. He knows how to win, and we got to keep everybody healthy. Comes down to who's healthy at the end of the year. So I'm excited. I'm hoping for a home game in the playoffs and at least 1 win.
What's your top memory as a Steeler fan? Is it one of the Super Bowls, or is it a certain game that really sticks out to you? What's your fondest memory of being a Steelers fan?
So we have 2 Super Bowls since I was born, the year I was born, and then when I was like 4 years old. So I don't quite remember those that much, but there was quite a few games that we've won when I was there. So probably a win at home would have to be my favorite memory. And I don't know. I'm excited. We've never had a losing season since I've been alive. So
yeah, hopefully that streak keeps going. So I'll leave you here with this one. Just any last message that you want to send out to the fans out there, what to watch for. What do you got coming up next as the high school season rolls on for yourself?
Yeah, coming up, we have Ironman this coming weekend. Excited for that. I could be the 3rd ever 4-time Ironman champ. And the first 2 was Zahid Valencia and David Taylor. So world and Olympic champs. So that would be just an honor to put myself in that category. So we're going to go all in on sprinting there and trying to light up the scoreboard. And then just moving throughout this year, just excited to chase down opportunities, chase down, big time wrestlers and big time competition, and have no fear while doing it, and just try to sprint every time I wrestle. I think mainly for me though, it's bigger than wrestling. It's a platform to represent my faith and to grow my faith. So excited to do that and represent the Lord always. And I just think for Hokie Nation, it's going to be a ride. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm all in on whatever the team needs, and just excited to work hard in Blacksburg.
We love to hear that. Catch Bo at the Ironman tournament this weekend for Bishop McCort. This season, of course, an upcoming Real American Freestyle event. Hope to see him back on the mat sooner rather than later. And, of course, Virginia Tech fans, get ready for 2026-27 as Bo Bassett's coming to town. Bo, thank you very much, my man. Appreciate you hopping on today, and good luck the rest of the way. Hope to talk to you by the end of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.